This is chapter 16. This is page 66. Arthur decided to ask Groovy Jim if he'd ever heard the saying before, just in case there was some hidden point he was supposed to get. Arthur was never good at finding the hidden points in things, especially not if it was in his English class. He'd missed most of Romeo and Juliet while he was in juvie, but he got back in time to find out that almost everyone in the play dies at the end. That was the only hidden point he'd gotten from Romeo and Juliet. Everybody dies. There's a spoiler for you for our next unit. Groovy Jim didn't seem to mind the interruption. "Hey, kiddo, you're back," he said when Arthur pushed open the door of the shop. "Come on in." He waved a tattooed arm. "I could use some company here. I'm turning into a block of boredom." Top of 67. Arthur glanced around the empty shop, which smelled faintly of peppermint this time. It looked like Groovy Jim had added a couple new posters of tattoo designs on the walls. One of comic book characters, another of sailing ships. There was a string of droopy tinsel across the front of the counter where he was sitting. Arthur had no idea how the guy stayed in business. He never seemed to have any customers, although Arthur guessed that getting a tattoo in the middle of winter probably wasn't very popular. As Arthur closed the door behind him, he realized he hadn't planned out exactly what his story would be. What would he give as a reason for being there 2 Saturdays in a row? And how would he explain why Mr. Hampton was leaving him bizarre quotes on pieces of cardboard? "So what can I do for you?" Groovy Jim asked as Arthur stood awkwardly just inside the door. "You looking for Mr. Hampton again?" "Yeah, kind of." Arthur reached into his pocket for the scrap of cardboard, still debating what to ask. "He left me this note, and I have no clue what it means." Slowly, he read the words to Groovy Jim. "Have you ever heard that saying before?" Groovy Jim laughed. "Sure, I've got the same one right here." He tapped his finger on a piece of paper taped to his counter. "Hampton likes to hand it out a lot. Grocery guy across the street has the same quote taped on his counter, too." Arthur stepped closer to see. It was written on an old, creased note card. Same blue pen as on his cardboard note. Same square printed letters. So he, has repeatedly given this note to people. It is kind of weird. "What does it mean?" Groovy Jim shrugged. "Beats me. Hampton, he's deep, man." "Deep?" "Smart, philosophical, way beyond ordinary folks like you and me." Groovy Jim leaned back in his chair and rested his feet on top of the counter. He was wearing bedroom slippers, Arthur noticed, in the middle of the day. I like this Groovy Jim guy. "See, most people don't get the guy at all," Groovy Jim continued. "All they see is some far-out dude going around town with a cart full of junk. They think he's nuts, and I'm telling you, Hampton is way deeper than people realize. Trust me, he's got a good reason for everything he says and does." "What reason?" "Well, that's a question you'll have to ask him yourself. Can't help you with that one, kiddo." Arthur couldn't tell if Groovy Jim was avoiding the question or if he really didn't know anything more about Mr. Hampton. Groovy Jim tapped his finger on the note card. "Now, if you want my opinion of what the quote means, I think it's trying to say if you don't have vision, if you don't look deeper and see the possibilities in things, your spirit, your soul, will die." He squinted at Arthur. "Get it?" No, Arthur didn't really get it, and he especially didn't get what his spirit had to do with collecting garbage. How was he supposed to look deeper at a coffee can, for instance? But he pretended he understood. "Yeah, I see what you mean. Thanks." "Well, I hope you find what you're looking for this morning." Groovy Jim nodded and picked up a magazine from the counter. "Stay warm." It was only later, after Arthur left, that he realized he hadn't actually told Groovy Jim he was looking for anything that morning.
Wait, Groovy Jim is the junk name?
No. Groovy Jim